Hi friends, welcome to our flow today. I'm going to call it Yoga for Focus. We'll be moving in the Vinyasa style for sure, but I'm slowing it down a little bit today. Our sequencing might be challenging at times, but the pace is going to be a little slower than usual so that we can have some longer holds and some balance poses. So a flow like this is really nice on a day when you're feeling scattered or frazzled or just need to kind of ground and calm down. So I hope you enjoy. As always, grab some water, pick out some fun music, and meet me on the mat. Hi friends, welcome to Yoga for Focus. We're going to get moving in just a second, but first, as always, let's catch our breath. So come on down to a seated place, sit in a way where you can find your hip points, and then sit up nice and tall, palms up. We want to bring gentle but mindful length to the spine, and then we'll take a big breath in through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Good. Do it a few more times. Just a deep breath in. Exhale, letting it go. And on this next breath, on the exhale, maybe closing your eyes. We're simply catching our breath from a busy day. And then maybe starting to breathe in a way where we match the length of the inhale to the length of the exhale. Just noticing the breath, noticing the rise and fall of it. And then beginning to inhale in a way where we're filling the lungs from bottom to top. And with these two things in mind, we just let a natural pace develop with the breath. So while we're catching our breath, noticing how the body feels today, I want to notice our energy level, our stress level, our mood, our mindset. This flow was designed to help you focus or calm down on a busy day. So we're just taking note of how we feel. And as far as an intention or thought or theme goes today, I'm going to use a quote that I use in my classes sometimes. And it goes like this: the body benefits from movement and the mind benefits from stillness. So we'll be moving our body today in a way that feels nice, but deliberately trying to still the mind, deliberately trying to push out any distractions, deliberately choosing yourself. On the next exhale for you, let's bring our palms together in prayer pose. Continuing that deep breathing. Maybe choosing an intention for yourself. If you've had a busy day, maybe we welcome the stillness. Maybe we just make sure that we notice how the body feels as we move today. And on the next inhale, let's reach all the way as high as we can for the sky. Exhale, swim it out wide. Come into your prayer pose. Again, 2 more times. Inhale, reaching up high. Exhale, returning to prayer pose. And 1 more time, a big breath in. Exhale, relax in your prayer pose. Awesome job. So on the next inhale, let's reach all the way up. As we exhale, let's twist to our right, looking over the right shoulder. On an inhale, come back to neutral. Lift the arms. Exhale, twist to the left. We'll start to move with our breath, twisting on the exhale, lengthening on the inhale, and just coming into a nice little pace with this. Still making sure that your priority is your breathing. So again, our intention today, or that quote, if you want to come back to that, is the body benefits from movement, the mind from stillness. Those are two really nice ways to help you de-stress a little bit. Let's take a big breath in. Finish on that left side. Have a twist. And as we inhale, rise back up. Exhale, coming to your prayer pose. Good. So, coming back to that intention, if you set one, I welcome the stillness, or whatever it is that you set personally today. Having one more breath here. And exhale, relax. Good. Let's come to all fours pose, where we'll put our palms right under our shoulders, fanning the fingers out wide so that you have a nice base for your wrists and your shoulders, setting yourself up in a safe way. Then we want to place knees under hips, heading into cat and cow. On an inhale, let's aim the tailbone up and lift the heart. Big breath in. Exhale, point the tailbone down, round, cat. Inhale, come back into cow pose. Nice gentle back extension. Exhale, rounding in cat pose, gentle back flexion. Inhale, returning to cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. Start to move at your own pace again. Listening to your breath. Listening to your body now that you're moving a little bit more, noticing how you feel. Big breathing. Again, our breath is our priority. Especially on a day if you're feeling a little frazzled. Let's have one more of each pose. Exhale, finishing in a cat stretch. Then gently coming back to neutral all fours. Let's lift up through the shoulders, keeping them really sturdy. Let's gently engage the core, and we'll lift the right leg straight back. We have a focus of leveling the hip, so it's easy to let the hip kind of tilt or shift left and right. Let's try and not do that. Let's just press directly back through the heel, so we're flexing the ankle, and then maybe lifting the left arm as well. So we're trying to be a nice, long, straight line. The right shoulder, the weight-bearing shoulder, is really strong. We're reaching actively the whole time. Let's come back to the breath. Deep breath in, deep breath out. One more time. Exhale, come back to all fours. To do the other side, let's lift the left leg straight back. So again, we're flexing at the ankle. We're leveling the hip, trying not to let it rise or shift. We're reaching through that heel. Let's lift the right arm also. So this time, the weight-bearing shoulder, the left side, we're keeping it really active, consciously, not sinking into it or getting lazy on it, but keeping it safe and keeping it strong. Let's make sure we're breathing deeply, just starting to warm up the body. And on an exhale, come back down to all fours. We'll walk our hands into a kneeling plank. So fingers are spread, palms are active, lifting up through the arms and shoulders. And then finally, shoulder blades, pull them down the back so that we don't have any rounding at the upper back. Pull the core in, catch your breath, maybe taking it to a full plank. So today we're holding things a little bit longer than I usually do. I love to flow, but today this is more of a flow designed to help you calm and focus. So we're focusing a lot on the breath and slowing down the movement. We're thinking of pressing the back through the heels, aiming the tailbone toward the heels. If we need to come to the knees, we can. We're lifting up through the shoulders constantly. On the next exhale, let's take it to downward facing dog. So we want to bend the knees at first, aim the tailbone up, press the palms into the mat, and pull the shoulder blades down the back. Alternate pressing one heel toward the mat, bending the opposite knee. Just warming up the backs of the legs in our downward dog. On the next inhale, let's come back into plank pose and lower the knees. Let's stabilize the shoulders once again, and to come down to the mat, we'll have a chaturanga. So shift and ease down without shrugging, elbows by the rib cage. On an inhale, unsupported cobra. meaning we're here by using our back and shoulder blade muscles, not our hands or anything else. And on the next exhale, hug the elbows to the ribs, press up. Take it back to extended child's. On the inhale, travel forward to kneeling plank again. Stabilize. We'll have that same little sequence 2 more times. On an exhale, shift and ease down without shrugging. Inhale, unsupported cobra. Exhale, press yourself up. Take it back to extended child's. 1 more time. Inhale, flowing into kneeling plank. Find stability at the shoulders, so important. Exhale, shift and ease down. Inhale, unsupported cobra, warming up the back. Exhale, pressing up and taking it back to extended child's. Let's have a breath in our extended child's. And on the next inhale, tuck the toes, come back to downward facing dog. And let's step to forward fold, 1 foot at a time, until our feet are in mountain stance, basically, hip width apart and parallel to each other. We bend the knees and just release to a forward fold. On the next inhale, let's hinge up from the hips, swan diving up, we rise. Exhale, prayer pose, we rest. So standing tall in your mountain pose, feet grounded, crown of head reaching for the sky, catching your breath. Coming back to that quote, the body benefits from movement, the mind benefits from stillness. So making sure that your thoughts are still on you and your body and your breath. On the next inhale, we'll start a round of sun salutations, moving with breath. Alter away, change it up as much as you need to. On an inhale, let's reach the arms up. As we exhale, hinge from your hips, easing all the way down to a forward fold. On the next inhale, bend the knees, lift the spine to halfway. Exhale, forward fold, relax. Let's step the right leg way back, pressing through the right heel, look forward. On an inhale, reach the arms up and overhead on a crescent lunge. And exhale, ease down, stepping to downward facing dog. On the inhale, flow forward. We can do that sequence we just practiced, or we can have the full version here. We exhale, shift and ease down, flip the feet and press to upward facing dog, where the only thing touching the mat is my palms and the tops of my feet. On an exhale, let's take it to downward facing dog. Option to lift the right leg up in the air, point the toe. Exhale, hug it through, setting up for crescent lunge other side. On an inhale, rise up through the arms. And on an exhale, float down, stepping to forward fold. On an inhale, swan dive up. Exhale, finish in a chair squat. Send the hips down and back. Spine is tall. On the inhale, rise. Let's start it again. Exhale, hinge from your hips. Squeeze your core and your back muscles all the way down. Then bend the knees. Inhale, lift to that flat back place. And then exhale, forward fold. Now we'll step the left leg way back, pressing through the heel. Look forward to lengthen your back. Inhale, rise up through the arms. Strong crescent lunge. Exhale, ease down. Plant the palms. Step to downward dog again. On the inhale, flow forward again. Choose whichever sequence you liked better, kneeling or full plank. Exhale, shift and ease down. Maybe flip the feet, press yourself up, upward facing dog. On the exhale, meet me in downward dog. Option to lift the left leg up in the air. Exhale, step it all the way through. Lunge. Inhale to crescent lunge. Stabilize, get your balance. Exhale, ease down. Step to forward fold. On an inhale, swan dive up. Exhale, finish in chair pose again. Let's inhale, rise. Exhale, rest. Come to prayer pose. Standing tall. Catching your breath. We come back to that equal ratio breath. matching the inhale to the exhale. We come back to that intention of welcoming stillness, clearing out the distractions, choosing what is important for you to focus on right now, and that's your body and your breath. Good. One more breath here. And on your next exhale, open the eyes, relax the arms. On the inhale, let's rise up through the body. Exhale, take a swan dive all the way down, forward fold. And then let's step to downward facing dog again. Plant the palms, step the feet back, lift the hips up high. Palms pressed into the mat, shoulders active, legs as long as you want them to be, or knees as bent as you need them to be. Priority would be keeping the back flat, not easing the heels down to an unnatural place. So let's start moving again. Let's inhale, lift the right leg up in the air. Exhale, step it all the way through. Lunge. Have a big breath in. Exhale, come down to that left knee. So if you have a block handy, we're going to use it several times today or have the option to. If you use it in a twisting lunge, we'll put it under the left hand. So we stabilize the shoulder, plant the palm, and on an inhale, lift the right arm up in the air. Exhale, have a nice twist here. So the block is up to you. If the block feels unnatural, of course, don't use it. Gives a lot of us a little bit of extra space. If you've been practicing your twisting lunge for a while, you're welcome to tuck the back toe and lift the back knee. We're squeezing the right inner thigh to keep the knee pointing forward. And if we want to, we can even bring hands to prayer pose in front of the heart in our twist. Let's have one more breath here. If you've got your hands in prayer, let's ease it down. Let's plant that front foot, press through the back heel, and inhale, reach all the way up into a crescent lunge. So in our crescent lunge, we're pressing through the back heel. We're lifting the back knee for stability. We're looking forward. If we'd like to add a little bit more of an element of balance to this today, we can add a stretch to the shoulder blades by bringing the left arm down first. The right arm winds underneath it, and the arms wind together in eagle arms. We pull shoulder blades down the back, and we keep pressing through that left heel. And if this doesn't work for you, you can always do this little bear hug thing. It's pretty much the same thing. Looks a little different, feels quite similar. On an exhale, release the arms back to prayer pose. Now spiral your left heel down. Inhale, open up into warrior two, and if you need to adjust your stance, do it. On an exhale, bend that knee, look over your right hand. We're zipping up the core. We're pressing through both feet, engaging both legs. Arms are active, and we gaze over that right hand. We're finding something to look at out in front of us that's not moving. In yoga, we call this the drishti. The drishti is basically referring to that focal point, something we can focus on. Helps us still our mind and relax the face. On the next exhale, let's start to lengthen the right leg for triangle pose. So we'll zip up the core. We'll reach forward, and we're letting the hips tilt. We're keeping the spine long. And then we just ease down to a natural place for a triangle. And again, if you've got your block handy, you're welcome to use it at the inner right shin. And we just look up if it feels okay on the neck. Otherwise, we can continue looking down or wherever we want to. So a long wingspan. In triangle pose, we're working the obliques. They're supporting us and helping us not totally slump over and lose alignment like I'm doing right now, but keeping us nice and powerful through the core. We're lengthening the wingspan, and we're getting a stretch in the right inner thigh. To come out of this, bend that front knee, stack it over the ankle, kind of windmill your way down, move your block to the side, and step to downward facing dog again. Let's have a breath in downward facing dog. Then we'll start the same sequence for the other side. Option to lift the left leg up first. Exhale, hug it through, step it through. Find that kneeling lunge, releasing the knee to the mat. And again, you're welcome to use the block if you like it for your kneeling twisting lunge. Planting the right palm on it this time. Inhale, lifting the left arm. Exhale, having a nice twist. So we're lengthening the wingspan here as well, squeezing the core, relaxing the face. And again, finding a drishti, something to look at. Option to tuck your right foot, lift the right knee. And even option to bring hands to prayer pose in your twist. So just caution that we don't do this to yank ourselves around in a twist. We do this if we can already be there. So listen to your spine, don't overdo. Let's undo our twist. Get our balance on an inhale. We're pressing through the back heel. We rise up, crescent lunge. We're pressing down the right leg, through the right heel, zipping up the core. To add in that eagle arm variation, bring your right arm down first, your left arm underneath it, wrapping arms or bear hugging. If you're an eagle though, you're lifting up gently through the elbows and at the same time pulling down at the shoulder blades. So let's gaze past the wrists so that we don't lose our balance. Again, finding that focal point, something to help you concentrate. On an exhale, prayer pose. Now spiral your right heel down. Inhale, open the hips up and the arms and the torso, warrior two. Again, if you need to adjust your stride, go for it. And then bend that front knee, settle into your best warrior two. We're reaching in opposite directions. We're squeezing the bottom, we're squeezing the legs, we're planting the feet. Come back to that equal ratio breath. Finding that drishti once again, helping you focus. To head into triangle, let's exhale, lengthen the left leg. Start to reach forward, and at the same time we let the hips tilt, keeping the spine long, and then just easing down to our best triangle pose. So in triangle, this is one you can think of as trying to revolve your torso to face the sky. It's not going to happen, but we're trying to avoid totally facing the floor. Knees, we never lock them. Obliques are strong. Deep breathing. To come out of it, bend your left knee, ease down, windmill down. Find the lunge and step to downward facing dog again. Have a big breath in your downward dog. Catch your breath. Child's is always an option too. To head into our next little sequence, let's lower the right knee directly under the right hip. So this is definitely one that the block will come in handy for if you have one. If not, a stack of books will work or a box that's sturdy. Let's bring the right leg behind us, like a little kickstand, the right foot and shin. Then make sure the right knee is directly under your hip. We're setting up for a kneeling plank. So kneeling side plank. Let's put the block under the right hand, if you have it. Another thing is also the books that will really help, because most of us don't quite have the arm length to be in a nice straight line in a kneeling side plank without a little help, giving us an extra few inches of space right there at the hand. So here we are, we're using the bum to squeeze and push forward so that our hips are in line with the leg, the left leg. We're planting the left leg and then lifting up through the left arm. Let's zip up the core. Let's try and keep the spine long, core muscles active. And then if we want to, we can even lift the left leg, flex the ankle, press through that heel. Maybe we even reach over the ear. Taking up lots of space here. Deep breaths. We can come down, tap the mat, lift back up, tap, lift, tap, lift. Maybe one more time, and then hold again. Let's bring the hand to the hip. Let's have one more breath and plant that foot again. If you'd like to stay here, just lift back off, be active about it. If you'd like a full side plank right now, we can move the block, come down to the palm. We have to make sure this weight-bearing shoulder is ready for it, that it's strong enough and it's awake enough and it's sturdy. And then we simply lengthen the right leg behind the left. We can reach up, or if it helps you balance better, hand to the hip. And we want to, today we can even stack. Catch your breath here, steady breathing, and perhaps challenge yourself with a little balance today with tree pose. Let's ease back to side plank, to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in here in your downward facing dog. And then ease the left knee down right under that left hip. Same thing, other side. Bring the foot behind you. Make sure the knee's under the hip. We'll grab the block. We'll plant our right foot, the extended leg, and we'll ease the hips forward, activating the glutes and the legs. We'll inhale, reach up through that right side, where we're trying to really lengthen our wingspan here. Weight-bearing shoulder, the left shoulder is active. And if we want to, we can lift that right leg, flex the ankle, maybe reach over that right ear, taking up space. And then finally tap down, lift up, tap down, lift up. One more time. Perhaps bringing the hand to the hip, holding this pose just briefly, and then easing it down. So staying here in a kneeling side plank if you'd like to, or moving the block, coming down to the left palm, left shoulder is active, and then easing that left leg back, flexing the ankles, making sure everything's sturdy, there's no pain anywhere. Breathing deeply. Option to stack the feet today, or maybe even take it into that little baby tree pose. We'll ease back to side plank, to full plank, to downward facing dog, exhaling. Let's gently come down to the knees. We'll have a little bit of a rest. Extended child's pose. Relaxing your face, catching your breath. With extended arms out in front of us in extended child's pose. Let's walk our hands toward the right side of the mat, stretching through the left side body. We'll walk our hands back to neutral and then over toward the left side of the mat. Now we're stretching through the right side of the body. Coming back to neutral, having one more breath in child's pose. Then planting palms, tucking toes, lifting to downward dog one more time, and stepping to a forward fold. On an inhale, swan diving up, exhaling, resting. So rooted at the feet, active at the core, mountain pose, having one more breath here. Let's release hands to hips and step the right leg back for warrior one. So long stride. We plant the right foot into the mat, the back foot, and square the hips forward. On an inhale, reaching up, and on an exhale, bending that left knee. We keep pressing down the back leg into the back foot, really squeezing that right glute. Maybe bending that front knee a little bit more. Whatever's comfortable though, don't overdo. And then finally, swim the arms back behind you, interlacing if it's comfortable, or just reaching. What we want to be aware of here is that we're just trying to get a chest in front of the shoulder stretch. So keep your tailbone aimed down so that you don't let the lumbar start to ache. And then just enjoy the stretch. On an exhale, bring hands to hips. Start to hinge from your hips, keeping your spine long the whole way down until we get about parallel to the floor, about halfway down. We'll put the block at the left instep for heading into pyramid. So on an inhale, lengthen your spine. On an exhale, start to lengthen your left leg. We're really aware of our knees in pyramid pose, that we don't lock either knee. Always protecting our joints, never straining our joints. We're coming back to that equal ratio breath, stilling the mind. To increase your stretch in pyramid, think about hinging from your hips more rather than rounding in your spine. Let's have about one more breath here. You're welcome to stay here. If you'd like a balance pose, we're going to head into Warrior 3 pose today. With Warrior 3, we'll bend this left knee, stacking it directly over the ankle. Just put the block to the side, and we'll shift and lift the right leg up. So flexing at the ankle, pressing through the heel, making sure you don't lock the weight-bearing leg. And if we want to, we can rise up, reaching the arms out by our sides, or even reaching forward in more of a Warrior 3 stance. Focus on your breath. Equal part breath. On an exhale, ease down, forward fold, bend the knees, relax. Let's sink the hips down more, and on an inhale, rise up into a chair pose. So we want the center of gravity in chair to be at the hips, not the knees. So if you feel pressure or straining at your knees, make sure the weight is in your hips. It's just different when we come into it from rising up rather than sitting down into it. So just checking on your knees. Lower back is supported with the core, spine is tall. On an inhale, rise and reach. Exhale, rest. Have a breath here. Coming back to that intention. Cultivating stillness. Let's step the left leg back this time, hands on the hips. A long stride, planting the left foot into the mat and squaring your hips forward. On an inhale, reach up through the arms. On an exhale, bend that right knee. Keep pressing through your back leg into the back foot. Where your back foot meets the mat is a sturdy foundation there. Hips are squared forward. Let's swim the arms down and back, reaching or interlacing. We're trying our best to keep the hips squared, core engaged, making sure there's no pain in the lumbar area. Squeezing that left glute, squeezing your core. On an exhale, release the chest stretch. Hands to hips. Let's start to hinge down, heading into pyramid. We'll put the block, if we have one, at the right instep. We'll inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, lengthen the right leg. So again, we're very conscious of our knees, that we don't lock them. They're always a little soft. Aware of the stretch in the right hamstring, that we don't overdo. Increasing our stretch by hinging from our hips, not by totally rounding in our spine like I'm doing right now. So think of bringing a little activity to your back muscles, your shoulder blade muscles, and just easing into the stretch. So feel free to stay here, Or if you'd like that warrior three pose, we'll bend the right knee, stack it right over the right ankle. We'll shift to the right leg, lift the left leg up in the air. Strong legs, weight-bearing leg not locked, pressing through that left heel. Maybe we lift the arms, focusing on your breathing, active core muscles. Maybe we even reach forward, warrior three pose. We'll ease down to a forward fold. Rest for a breath. And then sink the hips down. Inhale, rise the torso, chair pose. So again, checking on your knees. We don't want strain at the knees. Make sure center of gravity is at the hips. Core is engaged. Spine is tall. And then maybe we sink down 1 more inch today. On the next inhale, reaching up really tall. Exhale, prayer pose. Let's have a breath here in our mountain pose. Exhale. On the next inhale, let's rise back up. Exhale, swan dive down. Coming down to the mat for the rest of our time together. Let's step back to downward facing dog. For pigeon stretch, if you'd like it, we're starting to really slow down now. I love to get into pigeon stretch by creating a little extra space for it. And what I mean is we have the option to lift the left leg up first and then exhale, hug it through, but we're bringing the left knee to the outside of the left wrist. Outside of the left wrist. Then from there we can lower the right knee and then we can sort of toe our way back to make sure our center of gravity is at the hips and the pelvis and never on the bent knee. We don't want to feel any strain in the front knee. So center of gravity at the pelvis and the hips. We can sit tall. We're flexing that left ankle the whole time gently. And we're very aware in this pose that there's no pain. We don't want any pain in the back, in the hips, in that front knee, anywhere. We want this to feel like a nice hip stretch. We can always elevate the hips if we have a bolster or even a block or a pillow. If we want just a little bit more today, easing down maybe to the forearms. Or if pigeon pose is in your practice and you do it often, you know that you can come all the way down. Slowing down just a little bit for a few breaths. Cultivating stillness. If we're lying down, let's start to walk our way back up. Easing up. And then making our way back to downward dog by tucking the back foot, lifting to downward dog. Or you can head to all fours if you'd rather. To do the same thing other side, lifting the right leg up. Exhale, bend the knee, hug it through, and bring that right knee to the outside of the right wrist. So you're rotating from your hip to make that happen. And then lower the left knee, kind of walk it back until you're in a comfortable place. And we're feeling the center of gravity at the hips, never that front knee. So listen to that for a minute. Make sure you're comfortable. Flex the right ankle. That helps support your knee a little bit more. Lift your spine. And just sort of acclimate to the pose for a couple breaths. Again, we don't want any pain anywhere. If you'd like to, you're welcome to come down to the forearms or a block. That gives you a little extra height if you're somewhere in between. Or free to even come all the way down. If we're going further in this stretch, we're super aware of the front knee. We don't want to feel any strain there. We just want the hip stretch. Still practicing our equal ratio breath. Stilling the mind. On an inhale, easing your way back up. Pausing, catching your breath, and then tucking the toe, stepping to downward dog again. We'll lift the hips up high, and exhale, flow into plank pose. Lower the knees, and then shift and lower your way down to the mat. On an inhale, lifting up into locust pose, but today we're going to swim the arms out in front and pull down through the shoulder blades. We're going to hold that pose. So we're looking at the floor just a couple feet in front of us. We're squeezing the back side of the body. We're squeezing those shoulder blades, back muscles. We're making sure we're still breathing. It's an easy one to hold your breath on by accident. So come back to that breath over and over. Let's have one more breath here. And as we exhale, ease down, rest. Have a breath resting. And then gently make your way back to child's pose one more time today. Resting in your child's pose. Maybe 2 more breaths. Letting your rib cage expand on your inhales. Letting your back relax on your exhales. On your next inhale, let's start to ease up to all fours pose. And we'll come down to a seated pose. Have a couple more stretches before we call it a day. So in our easy seated pose, I'm going to give you 2 options. Easy seated pose, or if you'd like a little bit more of a hip stretch today, we're going to stack the knees. We'll start with right knee on the bottom, left knee on top. And what we're doing is we're trying to bring our heels closer to our hips, but we're still rooted at the hip bone. So if this version causes you to come out of alignment there, just head back to an easy cross-legged pose. Let's sit up nice and tall, shoulders back. Then let's bring the right arm up, bend at the elbow, stretching that tricep. We can just gently help aim the elbow up. We're not forcing anything on the shoulder joint or on the elbow. We're just kind of helping it align. We want it to feel nice, a nice stretch at the back of the arm and a nice hip stretch on your bottom half. If you want a little bit more, we can bring the left arm down. Back of the hand grazes the back, and we can even reach for each other and interlace. If that happens for you, awesome, congratulations. But that's not really the goal. The goal is to aim the top elbow up, the bottom elbow down, so that we're stretching through the shoulders. So don't force that bind. Let's have one more breath here, and exhale, gently release. Good. Let's switch the legs. Stack the left leg on the bottom, the right leg on top. And again, still on the hip bones, still seated tall. So if you're unable to do that, take it back to your cross-legged pose, no big deal. This time let's bring the left arm up, bend at the elbow, help yourself stretch gently through that tricep. Still seated tall and still looking forward. So trying not to dip down through the neck at this point, but to keep your spine nice and tall. If you'd like to add the bind, bringing the right arm down, back of the hand grazing the back, and then reaching your hands for one another. Still practicing our equal ratio breath. On an exhale, easing out of the pose and coming to a cross-legged pose. Let's sit tall, shoulders back, and let one ear float to the shoulder. Let's ease it up to normal, neutral, and then over to the other side. On an inhale, we rise. Exhale, rest. We'll head down to the mat. So hold the back of one leg as you ease down. Use your core strength to help you get down. And once you get down, let's hug our knees to our chest, letting the back flatten and relax. Placing our hands on our kneecaps, opening our knees out in opposite directions, circling them to meet in the middle, getting some wide hip mobility circles in. Equal ratio breath, matching your inhale to your exhale. Let's reverse the direction of the circles. And then on an exhale, floating the feet down, walking the feet out to the edges of your mat, so wider than hip width, arms out in a T, palms down. Let's lower the knees to the right side, letting the left hip rise. We can look over the left hand if we want to, if it's comfortable, or we can stay looking straight up to you. Getting a nice hip stretch. You might feel it through your side too, just relaxing with it. On an inhale, let's bring the knees back up to neutral and lower them to the left side, letting the right hip rise. Again, we can look over the right hand if we want to, or we can look straight up. Steady breathing. Relaxing your face. On an inhale, bringing knees back up to neutral. Exhale, relax. We'll bring our arms by our sides, rotating the palms up and tucking our shoulder blades underneath us to get a nice, flat, comfortable back. We can let the knees lean in and rest on each other, or we can extend our legs long, whichever way you prefer for your relaxation pose. So let's take a deep breath in together and exhale, closing the eyes. Let's make sure we're relaxing the feet, relaxing the legs, relaxing the hips, let them sink into the mat. Relaxing your torso and letting your shoulders sink into the mat as well. Relaxing the arms all the way down to the fingertips. And relaxing your neck and your throat. Relaxing your jaw, your face, and even your forehead. Letting our breath return to normal and just enjoying a little stillness. And over and over and over today, if you need to come back to it, come back to your breath and come back to that idea of cultivating stillness in your mind. So I highly recommend you staying here for a few minutes, just letting yourself calm down even more, letting your body relax, de-stressing. And I hope you feel better after moving and breathing, and I hope you feel less stressed and more focused. And that is where I will leave you today, resting in stillness. So thank you for sharing part of your life with me and practicing with me today. And the light and life in me honors the light and life in you. Namaste.